everybody, Teacher Paul here with our Creation Station Aquatic game. This is the second video and we're going to work on the fish hook. What we did is our first step was to duplicate our enemy sprite. The reason we're duplicating it is it brings all that useful code that we've already coded in our sprite. So here's our duplicate down here. Can't really see it because the cat is on it. But once I duplicated it, I turned our enemy sprite into the eel sprite. And this one is called enemy 2 right now. So in enemy 2, we went to the costumes and we got rid of the eel costumes because we already have them for our eel enemy. We're going to focus on the hook. What I did is I created a second costume of the hook by duplicating it. Again, to duplicate, you're going to touch your touchpad with 2 fingers and you'll get a window like that. If you have a mouse, you right click, or you can click and hold down if you're using a touch screen. Okay? We have 2 hooks now, 2 hook costumes, and one way to make it look like it's animating is use the selection tool, select the rope, and flip it horizontally. That's what I already did, so as I go between both of them, the rope kind of wiggles. The other thing you can do is you can move the hook a little bit on the second one. So select the hook and grab the rotation arrows and then redirect it. I am going quickly to keep the video short, but you can always pause and rewind, okay? There we go. So let's go to our code and code this hook. Now, our eel pops up after we travel a distance greater than 9 pixels from our distance variables. So what we're going to do now is we're going to maybe double this. So once we get to 18 or 20 pixels, our next enemy will come in, the hook. Now, this first line is saying go to a random position from about 100, which is right here in the front, to negative 200. Pick an X position. And then also go to negative 150Y, which would be down here. We don't want our hook to start at the bottom. We want it to start at the top. So we're going to say go to Y 200. Be way up there and pick any position left or right here. We don't want it also to go too far forward on the X axis because we'll never be there. Our hero only goes to midway, which is 0 at 0 at the middle. So the hook is going to pick a random spot on X here, and it'll be as high as 200 pixels. Then it's going to change its size to about 50%. It does not need to point towards the hero, so I'm going to pull this out. That was for the eel. Remember, this code was duplicated from the eel. And then we're telling it to wait for 1 to 5 seconds before it shows up. And then it's going to show up. It's going to make the sound zing for now, same as the eel. We'll change that later. And then it's going to glide to whatever X position it was already at. So that means it won't move left or right. It'll pick a spot, and then it's going to go straight down to negative Y100. But we only want it to go to about mid-level, so that's going to be 0. Or maybe we only want it to kind of do damage if our hero's near the top. So if Y0 is in the middle, and we go up a little higher, probably about 100. Not 1,000. And then once it glides to that position, boom, then we're going to have it glide back up to positive 200. Okay? And then it'll hide. So this is going to do the same thing the eel was doing from the bottom, where it's popping up, hiding, and then picking a random spot, popping up, hiding. But now it's starting at the top. It's going to pick a random spot, come down, and then go back up and hide. Okay? The other thing is we want the costume to be from the hook to hook 2. And again, this is if the distance is greater than 18, because we're talking about the hook. Oh, sorry, greater than 20. So we've got our movement script and we've got our animation script. And then down here is game over, just like in the eel. And this is taking damage. So if we touch the hero, we're going to take 1 point away. And then wait 2 seconds. That's the cooldown. You can change your own cooldown. So let's try it out. start the game, move, and the eel pops up, and there's the hook already coming in because we've already traveled a distance of greater than 20. If you want to see your distance, check the box over here. And the hook is working great. Goes down, pops back up. Now, one thing we can do to make the hook a little cooler is it have like come down and kind of like swoop to the side or swoop to the right. So in our code, instead of keeping its current X position, once it selects one, we could have it kind of pick a random X position that it'll glide to. So it'll glide left or right. So I'm going to turn this volume off for a minute. Let's go to our movement script for our hook, move it, and grab this pick random here that we already created. I'm going to duplicate it, pick random, duplicate it, pick random. So this will cause it to like really wiggle around. Do you see that? So it can go slow and it'll go fast. Because what it's doing is it's picking a random spot. If we read our code, it's going to glide down to 100. But as it's going down, it can pick anywhere from 100, which is about right here, to negative 200 on the X. Right? So it can pick anywhere from about here to here once it goes down. So that makes it tricky. If it's moving too fast for you, change the glide time. So it's like way slower now. I'll probably do one. And that is going to pretty much finish our hook. So if we're up here, ow, took damage, right? The only thing we have to do now is add sound. And also that when we get damaged, our costume changes in the hero. So let's go to our hero. Again, if I'm going fast, pause and rewind, watch it again. Okay, our hero, when touching the eel, will switch costume to ouch and play a sound. Well, this is basically a damage animation script. So we can duplicate this for every enemy. So we just duplicate by right-clicking on the if or double tapping and put it at the bottom of this if. Not inside of the if, but underneath it. And we're still inside the forever there. Common mistake is to put these inside other blocks that are incorrect. You want to go all the way down to the very bottom and then come up one layer right there. Boom. Okay. So let's move this out of the way and change this now. So you have your eel animation. Let's have our enemy 2 animation, which we're going to be changing to hook. So let's go over here. Change it to hook. Go back to our hero. We have eel, we have hook. This is great. And it plays a sound when we get hurt. So let me put the sound back on. Start it over. Oh. There we go. Start moving. Our distance is already really fast. And let's see what happens when we get hit by the hook. There it is. We took damage, right? And we went into our ouch costume. So I noticed, let's see. Yeah, 1 damage with a cooldown. Perfect. So if you want to change these sounds, feel free. Where it's going to be is in the hero. Instead of playing teleport, it could be a different damage sound. And the hook could have its own sound. So let's go to the hook. And instead of playing the zing when it comes in, this is the hook, we're going to add a new sound. So go to our search sounds and go to effects. And there is kind of like a water one, which is, let's try the water drop. See? I like that because it's almost like it's the sound of the hook plopping into the water. You can also make it a little bit louder. And we go to our code, and we're going to change it now to water drop. So there it goes. The hook's dropping in, right? Pretty neat. So now you've got a hook that's going to cause some damage. Some variations you could try is the speed of how quickly it moves, the size of the hook, and the sounds, and last but not least, how much damage it causes. So those are some cool variations. All right, that's enemy number 2, guys. We'll work on our next enemy in the next video. Have a great one.